Today's lesson is how to estimate decimal products. All right, so it's really important to be able to estimate even when using decimals so that you can check your answer and always ask yourself, does this make sense? So I've got a story problem for you here. Michaela wants to buy 1 6/10 pounds of cheese. About how much will that cheese cost if cheese is $8.99 per pound? So let's get some information written down. So write down the information that we're going to need for our problem. Michaela wants to buy 1.6 pounds and it costs $8.99 per pound. Have you ever noticed that? Michaela, have you noticed that when you go to the store, it's a lot of like 99s? Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that?
Horrible.
It's annoying, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're trying to trick you into thinking, oh, it's just $8, but really what's it closer to?
$9.
$9. See, you cannot be fooled. So what we can do is we can tweak these numbers to get an estimate. Here are a couple of ways to do that. One way would be to round both numbers to the nearest whole number. Remember, oftentimes I've said when you're working with decimals, round to the nearest whole number. So 1.6, we'd look at where our whole number is right here and look at the next door neighbor. It's a 6. 5 or more, let it soar. 4 or less,
let it rest.
Yeah, so it's a 6, so it's going to
soar
up to a 2. So this would be like saying that Michaela wants 2 pounds. It's really more than she actually wants. Maybe she'll feed some to her brother or something. Okay, and then the $8.99, let's round to the nearest whole dollar. As Michaela told us before, that's really close to $9. So now we have 2 pounds of cheese times $9. Yes, that's something that we can do in our head. 2 times 9 is? $18 total. Now, we can look at these numbers and see that both of the numbers were actually rounded up. They're both greater than what we started with. So if Michaela has $18, she's probably safe. Even with tax that gets added on, she's pretty safe with that overestimate. Check out this other way to estimate instead. Okay, in this case, we could decide to keep one of the numbers the same. Check it out. 1.6 pounds, what if we decided to keep that the same? Because Michaela says, no, I don't want any more than 1 6/10, otherwise my brother is going to get all crazy if I feed him the cheese. So she's going to keep that 1 6/10 pounds exactly the same. But that's not a very friendly number, is it?
No.
How could we make $8.99 into a friendly number? Well, we used 9 over here, but 9 times 1 6/10, it's still not mental math friendly. But what very, very friendly number is 9 close to?
10.
Yeah, so let's change the $8.99 to $10. Ooh, that's a big overestimate, so we'll know that Michaela's going to have plenty of money if she does it this way. Okay, so now we've got 1.6 times 10. And this is a lesson that we've learned already. When you're multiplying by a power of 10, how we can cheat with zeros. There's 1 0 in the power of 10 that we're multiplying by, so we would move the decimal place 1 over to the right. If we're multiplying by a power of 10, it needs to get greater. So that's why we move to the right. Remember, left is less. So our final answer then would be $16. And again, this is an overestimate. So we have 2 overestimates. $16 because we increased the price, and $18 because we increased both the price and the amount of cheese that Michaela is going to be chowing down on. So we do have 2 overestimates, and overestimates are usually the way to go with money because you always get hit with that tax at the end. So better safe than sorry when it comes to money. Let's take a look at how estimating can actually save you some time and energy. Instead of solving for the actual answer, sometimes you just need to use common sense. For example, and write this down, is 7 times 6 and 12/100ths greater than or less than 42? Well, Michaela, talk me through this. What do you think?
Well, 7 times 6 equals 42, and that is an underestimate, since the factor was rounded to a smaller number.
So you're saying that the 6 and 12/100ths was rounded to just a 6 for you? So Michaela, you did a fact that you knew. 7 times 6 is 42 exactly. And this 6 was rounded down, or the 6.12 was rounded down to get you your 6. So the actual answer must be a little bit more. Not a very big bit in pieces, just 12 pennies. But if you think about it, you've got 7 groups of 12 pennies. That can add up. So it really would be 42 and a little bit more. Now, Michaela, did you have to sit there and figure out the actual answer to answer this question? Like, did you have to figure out 7 times 6.12 to know the answer?
No.
You just used one of the facts and that good head of yours to figure it all out. All right, let's try another one. 4 and 1/100th times 19 and 95/100ths. Well, one thing that you can always do is you can round to the nearest whole number, or to the nearest 1. So 4 and 1/100th would round to 4. 19 and 95/100ths would round to 20. And now we have some nice mental math. 4 times 20 equals?
80.
Yeah, 80. Final answer. There's another way that we could estimate on this as well. It's always cool and a sign of a math pro to see if you can keep any of the numbers the same. And I'm looking at this 4 and 1/100th and thinking, man, that would be cool to keep it the same. Really, really cool to keep it the same. Now, if I'm looking at the 19 and 95/100ths, that's not going to be very friendly with my 4 and 1/100th. So I think I'll round that one to 20 also. Now let's use our doubling and halving strategy for this. If I know that 20 can be made of 2 groups of 10, 10 plus 10, what I could think of is I could just do 4.01 times 10 and deal with this other 10 later on and just ignore it for right now. Using what we've learned about cheating with zeros and decimals, I know that when I multiply by this 10, that means I'm going to move my decimal over 1 place. And I'm going to get 40 and 1/10. Now that was for 10 groups of 4.01. I need another 10 groups. So I could do 40.1 plus another 10 groups, which would be another 40.1, or I can just think, double it. If this is 10 groups of 4.01, 20 groups is double. So double it. And that would be 80 and 2/10. And it might be nice to have that a little bit more exact rather than just 80, because especially with money, you might get hit with some tax and you'll want to have that extra 20 cents. So there are a lot of different things to think about when you are estimating. You can always round to the nearest whole number. So I'd like you to write down your options for estimating. These things work really well. First option is just round to the nearest whole number, which is the ones place. Round to the nearest 1. Another option is to look for powers of 10 and cheat with the decimal by moving that decimal over for however many zeros you see. And a third option that we just showed is doubling, tripling, halving, etc. If you can think about a power of 10 and then you can double it to get to 20, you could triple it to get to 30, Or you could think of what 10 would be and half it to get to 5 groups. So you can use that strategy as well. All right, here's your task. After the Boston Tea Party occurred, Ben, George, Nancy, and Abby got together and they wanted to calculate about how much money was destroyed with the tea. Here are the facts. 3 ships were boarded: the Beaver, the Eleanor, and the Dartmouth. 342 chests of tea were broken open and dumped into the harbor. That included 90,000 pounds, the weight of tea. And at the time, tea cost 0.278 English pounds. So this is kind of like our dollar sign. But it's good for you guys to know that it's a different money denomination, also called pounds. Not like the weight pounds, but like the money pounds. So Ben, George, Nancy, and Abby got together, and they each did an estimate of about how much money they had just dumped into the harbor. They estimated and got the following answers. Ben came up with about 27,000 pounds. And he got 0 pounds. No money. Nancy estimated and got 27,800 British pounds as the total cost. And Abby's estimate came out to 28,000 British pounds. Well, when we look at our 4 estimates, we can see that there's definitely one outlier here. So what I want you to do is figure out how each of these founders came up with their answers for how much that British tea cost, including George. It wasn't just a brain fart. He would have been following one of the estimation options. Enjoy and be ready to share with your groups tomorrow.